information that could be weaponized in order to blackmail or embarrass a public figure. Questions about what the Russians had on Donald Trump, if anything, have spanned his entire first term. And again today, there's a new angle to consider, courtesy of the Republican-led Senate Intel Committee. There's a heavily redacted section of their brand new report called Threat Posed by Russian Intelligence Services Collection of Compromat. At the center of their investigation, questions about Trump and Miss Moscow at the Miss Universe pageant in 2013. Joining us now, former Assistant Director for Counterintelligence at the FBI, Frank Figliuzzi. Also joining us, New York Times Washington correspondent Mike Schmidt, author of the upcoming book, Donald Trump versus the United States, Inside the Struggle to Stop a President. Mike Schmidt, you wrote about this section on Compromat. What does it say, and why is it in there?
Well, yesterday when the report came out, we divided it up into big 100, 200-page tranches amongst my fellow reporters at the Times. And I was given this portion in the back, and I started reading through it. And I was shocked by what I saw. I had to call my editor and say, hey, there's some really surprising stuff in here about Trump's personal life that outlines accusations of a potential relationship when he went to Russia on one of his trips to scout to build a Trump Tower. There's questions about whether he had gone to a strip club. And it was not only just surprising and astounding to see these things being written about a sitting president and about whether a foreign adversary had these things. And I should point out that the report said that there's no indication that the Russian government actually had compromat on Trump or used it against him. But nonetheless, this Republican-led committee was putting these accusations in an official document. And this document being the most thorough bipartisan document to come out of Congress about Russia's meddling in the election. And it's just really unusual and surprising, and it made me wonder why it was included. And when we went to the vice chairman, Mark Warner, to ask him about this, he said, I'm going to let the report and what it says here speak for itself.
So, Frank Figliuzzi, this is from Mike's story. Collectively, the allegations raised a potential counterintelligence concern that Russia might be compromising information to influence the then presidential candidate's positions on relations with Russia, the report said. The committee sought in a limited way to understand the Russian government's alleged collection of such information, not only because of the threat of a potential foreign influence operation, but also to explore the possibility of a misinformation operation targeting the integrity of the U.S. political process. It feels like all those things are underway. To influence then presidential candidates' positions on relations with Russia. He's more pro-Russia than some Russians, more pro-Putin. I mean, what does it say to you that this section is in there?
So first, it's been playing out for 4 years. We've felt this way for 4 years now. One of the initial thoughts I have, Nicole, is this is further validation that the FBI knew what it was doing, had valid concerns. And while for many people this may sound like a Tom Clancy novel, this is not new to anybody who's ever worked counterintelligence. In fact, it's not new to any global corporate executive in a targeted industry who travels regularly. This is what happens. And there is published credible research regarding Trump that even dates back earlier than 1996, when Trump first came on the radar screen of the Russian intelligence services. And that's allegedly back when he married Ivana, and she had a relative that was reportedly an asset of the East German intelligence service reporting to the Russian intelligence service. So when a wealthy individual who might someday go into politics and has a lot of money to invest in real estate travels to Russia, or for that matter, to China, they are on the radar screen. The next step is how you compromise them. And let me say this, two thoughts. One, if he did anything like is reported in the report, it's on video, number one. Number two, the bigger question for all of us, Nicole, is what's the context? Does it matter? Can you be compromised if you have no shame? In other words, if it's true that he may have been intimate with a former Miss Moscow, right? To him, or he had multiple women in a hotel in Russia, as is alleged here. Does he care? Can he be compromised if a man has no shame? I think the larger context is, what else is it that they have on him that we don't know, that he would not want to get out? That's what I'm focused on. And then lastly, Look, we're getting more counterintelligence detail out of this Senate report, bipartisan, than we ever saw in the Mueller report, because remember, Mueller was limited to criminality. What you're seeing here is straight up counter intel. Is someone working for another government, and are they compromised?
Mike Schmidt, this is my question for you. What more broadly did we learn yesterday? And I asked Andrew Weissmann this yesterday. Were there things in the Senate report that you didn't know? Is it fair to put the Mueller report in a much more sort of narrow category than we thought it was if a Republican-led committee is churning out this, as you said, salacious and sordid information that we didn't learn in the Mueller report?
Well, this was a more thorough story than what the Mueller report told, and it gave us a greater understanding of what was going on. And if you took all the facts from it, you could make an incredible narrative out of it that dates back to the 90s and comes through today and tells this story. And at the heart of the report are two important things. One of them is that basically Manafort's right-hand man was a Russian intelligence officer and had a direct pipeline to Manafort during the campaign. And that's a grave national security threat, as the report says. And secondly, which should not be lost on anyone, is that the report says that basically it's difficult to take Donald Trump's answers to Mueller, his written answers to Mueller, that he did not know what the campaign knew about what may be coming from WikiLeaks at face value. Essentially, that the president may have provided an inaccurate answer to the special counsel's office, that the president may have lied. And look, that accusation has been out there. It was talked about when Mueller testified, but just to hear that about a sitting president is obviously a huge deal.
It's where he benefits from the pace and the volume, that he lied to the special counsel, that there's a section about compromise, and that we're still asking questions about what Putin has on him. Should surprise no one. Frank Figliuzzi, Mike Schmidt, thank you both for spending some time with us. Still ahead, former President Barack Obama will be the keynote speaker tonight, returning to the convention stage.